Hello and welcome on in, race fans, to tonight's event here at EchoPark Speedway, formerly known as Atlanta Motor Speedway, for the Duels here in the Trinity Racing League. We were here last week. We are here for a couple quick races tonight, and we'll be here for one more week, 1 week from now. All of the Speed Weeks action and more coming at you guys from myself and co-host Tom Richter. How's it going, Tom?
Good evening, Arie, and good evening, race fans. Happy Monday evening to you all. Drivers getting set to do a quick little duel race out here, 2 of them out here, where we're going to see 45 laps in each, and that's going to determine the qualifying order for next week's race. So a lot on the line out here, and oh yeah, some bonus points as well for the winner of both duels.
And I think when you get to duel week in whatever form of, motorsport or league that you're in, it's always a good time because you've got a couple of shorter events. Drivers are going to kind of have their aggression maxed out. They just want to go up there and get the best result they can. There's not really much to lose at the end of the day. Once qualifying is done, we know who the front row are, and from there, it's just go see how high you can start, go see how well you race in the pack, and try out a bunch of stuff that you're going to want to use next week.
Yeah, a lot of information that you're going to be able to pick up. Now, the thing is, though, Arie, is that last week's race was 75 laps. Tonight's race, only 45 laps apiece. So drivers not going to have a whole lot of time to work their way through. But what they are going to be able to figure out is who they can work with, who they work well with for next week, and maybe a little something to think about, who they want to maybe avoid drafting or being pushed by next week. So a lot of information going to be learned by the drivers out here this evening, as we have just about 2.5 minutes remaining out in open practice. Jarrett Talmadge, Thomas Green, and Sam Dyer, the top 3.
It's ramping up here towards the end of practice, and arguably the most important qualifying session, or at least the qualifying session with the most pressure on it all season long, given, you qualify first or second, and otherwise it doesn't matter. So you better go out there and get the best lap that you can. You see a lot of these drivers right now just out there running solo, doing some mock qualifying runs, seeing what they can get away with, cutting the apron, trying to carry momentum, see what they can find. And it's always a very tricky challenge here at these super speedway style races, Tom, where you got to go out there and set a qualifying time, but you don't have the advantage of braking points and off throttle time in the corner to try and work with. It is very, very minuscule details.
It is, and those little tiny details, those little markers that you're going to need to hit consistently every single lap, that's what makes this track challenging. When it comes to qualifying out here tonight, Arie, you kind of hinted at it, but qualifying is important out here for 2 main reasons, right? Last week, Cody Reed sat on the pole and also took home the victory from the pole position. Wasn't always up there towards the front, but certainly showed that it didn't hurt to start up towards the front. So we'll see how the front row goes in the first of 2 duels.
That we will, and last week here in EchoPark Speedway, we had an absolutely fantastic race that we witnessed, an even better run to the finish on that white flag with one of my more memorable calls that I've had. It was a great time, a good photo finish, and if that was any indication of what we're about to see out of these drivers once, maybe even twice tonight with both duels, then I think we'll be in for a good time.
Field C's 1 minute remaining out in their practice session that they have out here this evening. Drivers making the final couple of laps out here. Some of the names that we saw last week, Josh Stovall had a good run going last week and ultimately had an incident late in the race. Josh Sawyer, Cedric Hunter, Isaac Shelley, all drivers looking to make their mark known here at EchoPark Speedway.
Another thing to bring up to those of you guys watching at home is that some of the paint scheme technology that we use is having some technical difficulties. So if you see drivers whose numbers don't match what you see on the board or next to their name, just know that is something that's out of all of our control, but should be fixed for next week. Practice is just now wrapping up in about 10 seconds time, and then all of the pressure is on for 2 laps for each and every one of these drivers to go out there and try and put themselves on the front row to try and lock themselves into a qualifying position for next week's event.
This qualifying session going to determine the starting order of the duels. Duel number 1 going to be made up of even qualifiers. Duel number 2 going to be made up of odd number qualifiers. And then you also have the front row that is going to set the front row for next week's race. So waiting to see who's going to light up first on pit road. See Dakota Moniz. He's got that 5 machine down on pit road. We're going to see if he rolls it out. And yes, he's going to be one of the first cars out, Dakota Moniz.
I tell you what, the front end of that race car definitely sticks out with that shiny chrome going on. I like that color combination with the black and the green as well. This is going to be a good chance to see some paint schemes for the first time out of a handful of these race drivers who especially didn't make it in last week or maybe weren't up towards the front of the show. But driver 5 going to bring us out on track and start to build up that speed as much as they can. A reminder for any of you guys who might not know out there, when it comes to these super speedway races, usually it's the second lap. I can almost guarantee it'll be the second lap that is the fast one. This first one is all about building up speed.
And you see him using all the momentum and making the radius of the track as wide as he possibly can, using every ounce on the outside lane there, trying to build up the RPMs down the backstretch. And we're going to see a much different front stretch in turn 1 from Dakota next time by.
I tell you what, Tom, the front end of that race car from afar, it almost looks like a Charger because you can't really see any of the, the Chevrolet decals on that. That's pretty interesting. But through 3 and 4 we go. Dakota Moniz to end the first lap. Going to try and get as much momentum off on the high side as he can, and now is when it counts.
He's going to cross the stripe for the first time as we wait to see drivers pop across the timing charts. Josh Kanata currently at the top with very few drivers, small sample size, but still following Dakota Moniz as more drivers come up on the scoring charts. Dakota Moniz still holding second on the board.
Down the back straightaway and into turn 3, driver 5 is going to keep it pinned on that white and red line, the effective out-of-bounds mark when in racing conditions. We'll see if we elect to cut the apron. Yes, indeed, this is legal for these drivers to do. Don't clip the grass. It'll invalidate your time, but across the line we go. Dakota Moniz top of the board with a 32.343.
Other drivers finishing out their qualifying runs. Scott Richter in the 0.5. He is working his second lap out here. First time by was good enough for 8th on the board. He's got just a little bit of ground to gain here on lap number 2 to see if he can advance his starting position. Hits the apron down in 3 and 4. That bobbles him up just a little bit.
Top of the board at the moment, Josh Kanata, and it's going to be joined by Justin Campbell. Across the line for driver 0.5, and Scott Rickard is going to jump up to P4. Close on that one as we jump over to Mike Miller in the 99, and Brandon Gass jumps up to P1.
Make P2 now held by Clint Cox as Clint Cox finishes his second lap, following Mike Miller down into turn number 3. See if he is able to take one of the top 2 starting spots. That's really all that matters in this qualifying session, because that will lock you onto the front row for next week's race, the first points-paying race of the Trinity Racing League season. Second time by, going to be good enough for 11th for Mike Miller.
Mike Miller jumps up in the P11, and we jump over to car 42. That's Mark Labertone, who's going to come across the line now with this bright red and yellow race car and put that Toyota up into P17.
Had a really good run last week for Mark. Finished second in a photo finish across the line. Second behind Cody Reed, and almost got his first win here in the Trinity Racing League. Looks to get one of the duels out here tonight and claim it his own. Joshua Sawyer on track.
Through turns 3 and 4, this is going to be the conclusion of lap number 2, the quick one for Mr. Sawyer. Going to come across the apron, dive it down and to the line. What kind of a time are we going to see? It's going to be P22 with that one as Thomas Green jumps up to P2 on the board. That might have been a second ago. And we jump over to last week's winner, Cody Reed in the 25, now on the hot lap.
Trying to carry the momentum and carry in some bonus points out here this evening with another dual win in that 25. See what Cody is able to do. First time by, 32nd on the board. He's got the engine wound up now, and he's going to come across the start-finish line. Going to need a pretty big pickup here. We'll see what he does at the line.
Across the line for Cody Reed, and we're going to put that 25 top of the board for 2 weeks running. If there's anyone who knows how to set a qualifying lap out here on these super speedways in the Trinity Racing League, that 25 is showing that he is the one to do it.
Quiet track right now. One car elected not to take a qualifying effort as we only have 17 seconds remaining out in qualifying, and that is this 12 of Eddie Donahue. Looks like he's going to be starting shotgun on the field in 34th.
We didn't catch it, but Ryan Kelly, driver 30, did jump up to the front row, P2. with that qualifying effort of 32.256, 2/1000ths ahead of Brandon Gass to get onto the front row and lock in that qualifying position, which does make it official. Cody Reed and driver 30, everything just adjusted on me, are going to be sharing the front row in 1 week's time. But now, Tom, now it's time to get ready for these duels as we take a look at our qualifying results for the entire field.
Cody Reed going to be starting on the pole out here tonight for the second week in a row from EchoPark Speedway. He's going to be followed by Ryan Kelly on the front row. Brandon Gass starts third out here this evening with Thomas Green fourth in the overall qualifying. Clint Cox going to come across the line in fifth with Justin Smith in sixth. Chris Stamper is going to be rolling across the start-finish line in seventh with Cedric Hunter to his outside in that number 7. Ryan Bird in the 49 going to be starting ninth, and the top 10 rounded out by Jesse Thornock.
In 11th, it's Jarrett Talmadge ahead of Sam Dyer in P12. Across the line, Noah Steele in 13th. Stephen Clapp with the 14th best time. Chris Stitz brings it home in 15th ahead of Josh Kanata in 16th for driver 16. Justin Campbell in 17th ahead of Mark Kuntz in 18th. We've got Ali Fonseca in 19th, and Mike Miller rounds out the top 20.
Starting 21st out here tonight is Isaac Shelley, and he's going to be joined by Scott Rickard on the outside of row number 11. Josh Stovall and Nick Renner make up row number 12. Dakota Moniz, Joshua Sawyer, Mark Labertone, and more drivers rounding out the top 30 in qualifying. Sam Garcia, Aaron Kralik, and Graham Walker, the top 30.
Nolan Hicks, 31st, ahead of Thomas Walter in 32nd, and final row of qualifying, Ben Kinney and Eddie Dunahu. And now, Tom, with that 34 driver qualifying session done and away, you can pretty much take everyone third on back and toss those results into the trash bin and take about one half here and one half in about 45 laps time to determine the grid second row on back. So to recap for any of you guys out there watching how the duels work here is we just locked in the front row. That is confirmed. Cody Reed and everyone who qualified in the odd numbers. So if you qualified first, third, fifth, seventh, ninth, all the way back, you are in this first race, and the results of this duel will determine where you start in 1 week's time in third, fifth, seventh, ninth, all the way back. We will then do this again for the even numbers after this first race.
Drivers are given just a couple of minutes here to get settled up and make sure that they're in the right positions out here this evening. Duel number 1 going to be made up of 17 cars, going to be led by Cody Reed on the front row with Brandon Gass in that 29 on the outside of the front row. Everybody's lining up behind the iRacing.com pace car. Going to be waiting just a minute or two for these cars to start rolling until we see the pace car begin to move.
All right, I tell you what, Tom, why don't we pull up our pole sitter for tomorrow, or rather next week's race. We talked to him a lot last week, but we can talk to him again. Cody Reed, driver of the 25, while we're sitting here waiting for the first duel to get underway. You have come out here and continued your hot streak, setting the pole lap yet again, locking yourself in for next week's time. And now you've got 45 laps ahead of you in which you're starting at the front of the field. So is it just go out there, have fun, and try to win?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to do. There's 2 more bonus points on the line, can double my point total this season. So that's all I'm going to do. Just have fun. Maybe help my teammates if they get up here. And yeah, I mean, I have nothing to lose now with the front row being locked up. So I'm excited. Maybe I can replicate what I did last week. Hopefully carry that on to next week. So yeah, just excited.
All right, love to hear it. We'll send you back into the team. Good luck in tonight's duel.
Thank you.
2 opportunities for a pole, and Cody Reed takes advantage of both of them. Hey, Blazing Fast TV, it's our pole sitter and grid sponsor. If you're looking for a relaxed stream, head on over to Blazing Fast TV on Twitch and YouTube and catch a live point of view from Dakota Moniz as he races. Follow, subscribe, stay up to date as he posts more content, and he's going to be in duel number 1 here, starting 13th on the board.
That he is. First driver we watched in qualifying, as a matter of fact. Cannot miss that race car. Sticks out in a good way out there on track, representing the American Pitbull Foundation. Great cause there. Looks like the grid is just about complete here, Tom, and we are ready to get rolling on track.
Yes, we are, as everybody's going to put their car in gear, and they're going to send us on our way for the first of 2 duels out here, twin 45-lap races out here, and Cody kind of led to it a couple of minutes ago that, there's 2 bonus points on the line for the winner of duel number 1 and duel number 2. Will other drivers tie Cody Reed with the 2 bonus points that he got last week, or will Cody have a 4-point lead going into the first points-paying race next week?
Well, I tell you what, if you go into the first race of the season with a 4-point lead over everyone else just from bonus points in the speed weeks, that is that's pretty dang impressive. And while that really just equates to 4 positions on track throughout the season, that is a pretty impressive thing to chase.
Never hurts to have more points.
Certainly doesn't.
All right, the field of 17 lined up behind the iRacing.com pace car. First duel, 45 laps, followed by a second one. So when this race finishes, don't go anywhere. We're going to be bringing you more action after this one concludes. But 45 laps and 17 drivers to settle the score out here. And we know from last week's race, Arie, that drivers can go about 60 laps on fuel. So don't believe fuel is going to be an issue. And we should just see a full run to the checkered flag.
You know what else I noticed is that we've got those infamous teammates, Clint Cox, Chris Stamper, on row 2. Last week, we saw how well that team worked together, and they controlled the race for a good chunk of it. So if those two can get nose to tail, if they can get working together here, that could be dangerous for the rest of the field. We're going to find out as the pace car gets ready to make that sharp left-hand turn down on a pit road. And for the first time tonight in the first deal, Cody Reed is going to take the green flag.
Everybody's going to come up through the loud pedal, come up 4 gears strong. Cody Reed, Brandon Gas going to bring us down into turn number 1, side by side into turn number 1 for the first time. Slight advantage down to the bottom for Clint Cox and Cody Reed as the outside trying to get formed up with the 53 of Chris Stamper pushing the outside.
First 2 cars clear on the inside, but not for long. That high side is going to get that momentum down the back straightaway and into turn 3. Now it is just 1 car clear on the inside as we make our way through 3 and 4. And contact between the 0-3 and the 29 nearly shuffles the 29 out, but everyone keeps it going. And across the line for lap 1, it's Cody Reed.
That shakes up the outside just temporarily, and everybody's going to get lined back up. We've got Chris Stamper still pushing the outside lane. Maybe a little bit more room now up on the outside from Brandon Gas. Clint Cox slid up in the entry down into turn number 3 on the opening lap. A little bit of contact there, and everybody carries away without any sort of damage, but the race still being led by Cody Reed.
That it is, and on the outside, Brandon Gas in the 29 trying to form a run, trying to make something happen here. Got to use that side draft off the 0-3, and wow, Tom, I tell you what, heading into the tri-oval both times now, these cars have been so squirrely, and we're going to go 3 wide. Jared Talmadge in the middle in that 27 says, see you later, 53, I want that spot.
Chris Stitt's going to follow suit and take that spot as well, as the 53 of Stamper continues to fall. Now back down into 9th, on the verge of losing a top 10 running position, as he is still 3 wide, this time with Aaron Kralik and Isaac Shelley.
Yeah, once you get shuffled out of line right there, it's really easy to just drop like a rock all the way to the back of the pack, especially with how careful you have to be at a track like Atlanta with how narrow it is. You can't really be aggressive on those side drafts, and now as a result, that high line is looking a lot better and formed up. That 27 is staying glued to the 29, and wow, Cody Reed 3 wide for a moment, gets let back in line, but now the 29 car gets clear, and that's going to be Brandon Gas to the race lead.
Brandon Gas able to slot in front of the 25 as they enter down into turn number 3. Got a good push from the 27 to Talmadge. And now that's going to open up the door for the outside lane, high wide, and ready to go up on the outside lane, now led by Talmadge and Chris Stitz running in the top.
I tell you what, Chris Stitz up here is a driver who we saw do a phenomenal job 1 week ago here in the first event of the season. Driver 17 came out here and showed out. He had a lot of really good saves, and now he's up here within the first 2 rows. I would expect him to be a name that we're talking about all through the rest of this event.
These cars look like they're bouncing around a whole lot more than they did last week, Arie, and that could be the something that's beaten on the track right now. Last week we saw a night race where duel number 2, not going to be a night race. We are actually pretty early in the day in terms of sim time. So both is going to be run under the sun. So we'll see if that plays an effect on how duel number 2 goes as well. But a little bit of uncomfortableness here early in duel number 1.
That there has been, and I tell you what, Jared Talmadge got to the lead right there, cleared the inside, jumps back up in front of the outside, interestingly enough, as we don't usually see that out of drivers here, but 27 elects to keep that high side, even though he had the lead enough to lead that lap last time by, and that could be a product. I wonder if the inside line is going to struggle here, Tom, to keep the momentum that they would normally have, given the ill handling.
You got to think that may be a factor here, and especially as the run goes along. We saw it last week with probably about 15, maybe 16 lap tires. The car started to push up off of the inside line and started to slide up into the outside racing surface. So we'll see if the outside line is able to hold their own, or if maybe they struggle a little bit here this evening, and we're going to see what they're able to do. But Jared Talmadge and Brandon Gass still leading the front lines here.
That they are, and on road 2 at the moment, Cody Reed on the inside and Chris Stitz on the outside. Drivers 25 and 17 respectively, all getting their own pushes from behind. These two lines are really formed up well at this point, and wow, these drivers are getting squirrely on the exit of the tri-oval back there. I feel like it's only a matter of time before somebody gets into somebody else.
You got to think that may be the case, and we saw Jared Talmadge last lap or the lap prior getting really tight on the inside line here down into turn number 3, not leaving a whole lot of room for mistakes. And you can see he's super close to Brandon Gass, and that's how you make the momentum, carry your car off the corner, but it's high risk, high reward.
That it is, and if that was the finish of the race, it would have won for the 27. So what he's doing is working, and you got to think as well, the more that these tires wear out for the drivers on the inside line, the worse that's going to affect them. They're going to have to check up a little bit to not get into you, but of course, you run the risk, because if you're pinching them and they get tight, that's going to be your butt on the line as well.
A unique concept about tonight's race, Arie. We're 10 laps in to duel number 1. And there's another 17 drivers watching this happen right now, taking notes, taking mental notes, and saying, okay, we can do this or we can't do that.
That's right, and I wouldn't be surprised if drivers are seeing what that 27 car is doing right now, using that side draft off of the first car on the inside line, and that's really making that outside line work wonders. They're not clearing one car after another, but they are very competitive running this way, and if you're going to be the lead car on the outside, if you can continue to do this, I don't see why you can't lead the lap every single time.
On board with the 24 of Arie Fonseca, he's coming across the start-finish line in about the 4th place running position, and it's a difficult position here because he's got an outside lane that he can use here, but we saw it multiple times last week that the outside does not always prevail, especially if you don't have help. But Jared Talmadge was able to take the race lead and slot down in front of the 29 of Brandon Gass.
That he has, and one thing to keep in mind for those of you guys watching out at home is, while all of this is going on, sure, these drivers have to manage running 190 miles an hour this close to one another, manage the air, manage the momentum, but something that often gets overlooked, Tom, is the temperatures. When you're one of the drivers pushing another driver in front of you, which for all intents and purposes is everybody except the 2 in the race lead, that's something you gotta juggle. If you want to push, you gotta be careful. You overheat your engine and you're done for. You'll lose speed, and it's a fine balancing act because you can't cool down too much. You won't be that fast, and you gotta kind of find that balance, and that a lot of the time makes the difference between a good pusher and an average pusher.
That's a fair and valid point, as typically, if you're locked up 100% nose to tail with the car in front of you, you'll probably only get upwards of 2 laps, maybe 2.5 here because it's a little bit smaller than Daytona or Talladega. That's something that these drivers have to manage, and knowing when to get out of the gas to let the car breathe, and that's what's causing a little bit of the separation here, I'm sure, coupled with some handling.
That it is, and here we see for the first time Chris Stitz in the 17 challenging for the race lead. Now the leader of that outside line, running a toe-in-toe with driver 27, Jared Talmadge, on the inside. And it looks like we've got a car down on the apron. The 03 of Clint Cox, I believe that is.
Yeah, Clint Cox, he's going to step out, and not sure if he saw something or maybe there was a little bit of contact there to move him onto the apron. He's going to carry on, stay in the draft, or maybe he was even just looking to find some friendly faces back here as we see a team car of Chris Stamper directly in front of him.
Nearly 3 wide up front with the 27-17 and the 24 who dives back into line. A driver who has not left the picture thus far is the 29 of Brandon Gass, keeping himself in the conversation.
One driver that has drove his way forward through the field early in tonight's race in the 45-lap hit that we got out here. Aaron Kralik runs up inside the top 5 in that 0-1 Navy machine on the outside lane, third car on the outside lane. Started 14th on the board and having a good opening run.
Starting to see the lines break up just a little bit. The 17 nearly got clear out front on the high side right there, but now trying to offer up a little bit more space. Those two teammates at the back of the field do finally get nose to tail, and we don't see as much pinching going on here with the 17 leading the outside line, I've noticed.
Yeah, see a little bit more separation, a little bit more daylight as they come across the start-finish line here. And I do like that here, Arie. Obviously, in the closing laps, get down there, really get up on the door, take some of the air away, make the driver on the inside have to lift in order to make the corner. About halfway through the race, that's a risk that you got to decide if it's worth it at that time. And they were making it work while they were doing it, so obviously it was worth it for the time being.
Absolutely the case, and if we continue to run green here, I can't help but wonder if we're going to have to start considering something like green flag pit stops, which is crazy to think about here in a duel. But so far, so good. Any close calls that these drivers have had out there on track, they've managed to keep everything going, keep themselves in one piece. Though it does just take one bad bump at a bad moment. But at the moment, I mean, everyone seems a lot more chilled out than they were 10 laps ago.
Yeah, certainly so, as drivers trying to make their way through. But if you're on board here with like Josh Stovall or something, not a whole lot of places you can go, and you can't even really see if something bad is happening in front of you. This is pretty similar to what he's seeing right now inside of his car. Maybe he's seeing maybe even a little bit less depending on his personal settings within iRacing, but yeah, it kind of limits the visibility here. But you can see the outside lane, but you can't see a whole lot in front of Cody Reed here directly.
You absolutely cannot see too much, and it is very nerve-wracking to be behind the wheel in the middle of a pack like this, especially when you come through the tri-oval here at Atlanta. It's so sketchy. It's got two very sharp turns, considering everyone's up at full speed. You got to be very, very careful about pushes and getting pushed, and keeping in track of who's right next to you as well. It's so easy to slam the side of another race car and cause a big wreck.
The inside line a little bit more formed up as they run right now. Got Brandon Gass in that 29, started towards the front of the field out here tonight. Still runs in third, and he is currently pushing race leader as they come across the start-finish line, Jared Talmadge. But Chris Stitz not going anywhere on the outside lane. He is saying, I am here to race, as he gets a push from Fonseca down into turn number 1.
Certainly here to put up a fight just like he did last week, maybe a little bit of unfinished business. You see the 27 maybe getting clear this time by, but the 17 is going to get a big push from Fonseca, second car on the outside line, and that bright yellow 24 car. You can see the momentum for the high line as we make our way through turns 3 and 4 and down the straightaway. Usually the high line gets a little advantage from running off of the banking. That time, I think at the line, it was just barely Stitz in the 17, but this is a great camera angle where you can see a lot of the momentum throughout the lap.
Yeah, it looks like the inside line has cars that are a lot more formed up right now than the outside. You can see some separation between Aaron Kralik and Arie on the outside lane there. And then you got the 98 of Isaac Shelley tucked up in there, fourth car up on the outside in that white number 98. So I like the looks of the inside, but remember what we saw last week with a cut down to the apron for Cody Reed to take the race win out here at EchoPark. So could very well be the same thing if you're limiting yourself to the inside.
That it could be, and we are already about to look at 20 laps to go, sitting at 22 left on the board here in duel number 1. We have effectively made it halfway through, and so far, no incidents. A couple of close calls, certainly, and at the moment, the 17 got really loose in turns 3 and 4 right there. That allows the 27 to clear from that inside line, I'd be curious to see if he'd be tempted at all to go up there and block the 17 if he's got the room to do so.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard sell to get up there up on the outside, especially when you see the 29 pushing as well as he is on the inside. And I realize that he can't see this right from his cockpit, but the inside line really just prevailing through the corners and able to hold their own because the outside line is not so tight. That very well could change here as we see 20 laps to go this time by. The push is going to turn into a shove into the bump drafts.
That it is, as you like to say, the give and take turns into a grab and go, and that 29 is pushing for his life, trying to get the 27 clear, because if the 29 of Brandon Gass can get that 27 clear, he's then got the opportunity to try and play the side draft games with the 17 and maybe open up a window for himself. When you're one of those first pushers on that second row, whether you're running third or fourth, you're trying to do everything you can, not necessarily for the driver in front of you, but for yourself. And to accomplish that goal, you need to help the driver in front of you. You're just looking for that window, just looking for your opportunity to get out there and lead one of these lines, because that's going to be your best shot.
Issues on the backstretch. The 0-1 of Aaron Kralik goes around. Cody Reed goes around on the backstretch. I believe I saw Aaron Kralik getting into the side of him. Let's see if we can.
Oh, we got
Yellow
more
flag is
issues
out.
on the front
Speedway, more
straightaway.
issues.
Ollie Fonseca on the
Fonseca
24.
hits the wall.
Big hit. All right, we got a couple of things to catch up on here. Let's see if we can't queue up the first incident, perhaps right here as we're heading down the back straightaway. Let's take a look. 25 on the inside of Cody Reed. Maybe we can get a better view from right here, perhaps. I almost wonder, you could see, oh, okay. Yeah, the 0-1 gets a really big hit from behind, and that just sends him down into the 25. Now, I am amazed, Tom, that this didn't turn into a worse incident. The 25 saves that. The 0-1 gets back on track just fine. Everyone makes their way through. And then a little further up, in that recovery phase, the 24 and the 98 make contact. They come together on exit, and that's going to send Fonseca up into the wall with notable damage. And we can take a look one more time at this secondary incident here as we watch the 24 of Fonseca through turns 3 and 4, kind of drifts up, gets loose, and kind of comes down into the nose of the 98 right there.
Yeah, gotta wonder if when he saw that incident happening, he got out of the gas a little bit. There was a little bit of weight transfer on those cars, but it does look like Isaac Shelley in that 98 claiming fault for the caution. And, well, that's not the way some of these drivers wanted to start duel number 1, because this does determine the lineup for the first points paying race next week, next Monday night here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. But all things considered, Arie, a lot of these drivers got out either unscathed or with minimal damage.
That's right, and we've got a split strategy here, Tom. We had the first 7 cars on track elect to stay out and not come down for some fresh tires. Everybody 8th on back has taken 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and this far into the race, we're going to be working lap 29 at the line. That is some significant tire wear to consider for the top 7, who are now going to be at a disadvantage.
Probably going to have, what, about a 12-lap run to the finish? We saw something similar last week, albeit in a 75-lap race when Graham Walker elected to stay out, and he was able to hold on for a little bit. But the difference there, Arie, was that he was the sole and only car that chose to stay out and not take tires. Here, there is a 7-car buffer between Jarrett Talmadge and the first car on tires, Aaron Kralik.
You see the choose rule coming into effect right here. Drivers at the line making abundantly clear which lane that they are choosing as they cross it, and lining up in their respective rows. Still something we're getting used to covering here at the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, but I am quite fond of that rule, and that's going to put Jarrett Talmadge in the race lead on the inside alongside Chris Stitz on the outside, much alike what we've seen in the recent green flag running. All
right, so Aaron Kralik elects to take the outside. He's going to be restarting 3rd on the outside row and first car on tires here, Arie. Who do you like? Do you like the track position here with a handful of laps to go, or do you like the tires?
I'll be honest, Tom. At Atlanta, I just feel like that track position is just worth so much. It's so much harder to try and make any kind of 3-wide moves. It's so risky. And yeah, the tires, like, they come into play more here, but I just don't know. I just don't see it. I feel like the track position is the way to go with how narrow this track is, but we'll see. I mean, we could certainly be proven wrong. We've got some really competitive drivers who are working with 4 fresh tires here, so we'll see what we can see.
Well, you take that, I'll take the tires, because that allows you to be versatile and move around wherever you want to go. And with some drivers behind you on tires, you could possibly make a 3rd lane run without any sort of handling issues, but we'll see how it plays out here as we have 14 laps to go at the line.
Jared Talmadge, great restart right there, going to lead us down into turn 1. The field very notably spread out here on this restart, a little 3-wide towards the back of the pack, but this is going to open the door for the 29 of Brandon Gass to get back up and potentially lead an outside line. As a matter of fact, the entire outside line disappears.
The outside line dissipates and everybody kind of slots down onto the inside line, except for Isaac Shelley. One of the issues right behind him, Brian Bird involved. Looks like maybe Nolan Hicks involved. Jorge Ali Fonseca involved. This is the big one at Atlanta.
This certainly is the big one. I am not sure what to make of what just happened. We are going to need a replay or 3, but that looked like it started pretty far up in the field here. As we take a look, probably even further up, yeah, with the 0-1 and the 49. And those two are just kind of on their own here, right in front of the field. We'll have to get a better view as to, like, what initiated this. But, man, everyone just comes plowing in here, Tom.
Multiple cars around with heavy damage on these vehicles. Let's see if we can't grab. So it looks like initially it starts maybe here with the 49, contact between the 0-1 and the 49. That's going to kind of set them off down here in turns 3 and 4, and then they're perpendicular to the entire track and the entire field behind them. Limited options.
Very limited options at this point in the corner. Terrible time to have a wreck, and it looked like that was really initiated by the 0-1 trying to move to the outside of the 49, had a ton of momentum, didn't want to result in a push, wanted to take that, but just made the move too late and got right into the back of the 49. That sent them wrecking and got a bunch of others involved.
Noah Steele also involved. Let's take a ride on board with Noah Steele, see what he saw live.
Pretty significant right side damage right there. Nearly made it through, too. That almost looked like an action movie.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities there for Noah, but that gave him some damage, though. Looks like, but from everything that I can see, it looks like maybe 4 cars were in front of that incident while it was happening. Jared Talmadge, Brandon Gass, Isaac Shelley, and possibly Cody Reed. Unsure of where Cody was running at the time of the incident. Cody was one of the cars that came down on pit road, which makes me think that he may have had to drive through that. Let's take a look and find out exactly with Cody Reed while we're still under caution here.
Slow it down just a little bit. Going to get pretty good contact into the back of Moniz in the 5. That gets Moniz involved. Otherwise was clear to make it through, but sometimes you just don't have enough time to react. That push right there, no visible damage on the front. I don't think that's really going to hurt the 25 too much. It was a big hit, though.
Fields restacking, repacking behind the iRacing.com pace car. A couple of more cars came down onto pit road. Chris Stitz on pit road. Ben Kinney on pit road with what appears to be terminal damage. Aaron Kralik has retired from the race after that incident. Dakota Moniz, Nolan Hicks, all drivers on pit road as we're coming to the 1 to green here this time.
Choose rule in effect yet again. You can see which lane everyone is electing to go for. And it looks like I felt like we had the most on the outside that time there, Tom.
I think we certainly do. There is a whole bunch of cars up on the outside. Looks like there's going to be about 8 or 9 cars that elected to take the outside lane. And, well, at some point, you got to take the track position over the outside.
That you do, and I think the 0-3 is going to be the big winner there, Clint Cox. I think he probably jumps at least 3 positions just by taking the inside right there, and that's really curious because usually you think of Atlanta as being a bottom line dominant track.
Yeah, but with the handling, the top 3 drivers don't have new tires. They're the only 3 yet to pit in this race. 4th place on back from Cody Reed all the way back to Chris Stitz. Those drivers did stop for tires underneath the first caution a couple of laps ago. So I do like the outside if I am on tires.
I tell you what, Tom, I want to get a look at the front end of this 98 because he did have some significant front end contact earlier in the race, and now he's going to be expected to potentially lead a lane right here. I wonder how much that front bumper being crumpled up is going to affect his ability to do so.
Yeah, you can see a pretty good bump on the front of that Supra of the 98 of Isaac Shelley, who's going to be bringing us back to the green flag on the outside of row number 1. On the inside of row number 1, it's Jarrett Talmadge.
Green flag is out and away, and that 98 is desperate to find a room. He cannot get there. Gap is closed by the 29 of gas into turn 1.
The entire outside lane falls apart. Isaac Shelley is able to slot into 3rd place as they come out of turn number 4 in front of Clint Cox. But the entire field, mostly single file, is now Isaac Shelley going to jump back up to the outside with help from Cox directly behind him.
Now we get to see if that 98 can effectively lead a lane with the damage riding on board. He gets bumped and he can't handle it. The 98 gets hit into the 2, into the 42. Hard contact for Labortown. That is going to be totaled for the 42, and we are going to queue up a replay.
The runner-up from last week's race in that 42, Mark Labertone, heavy, significant damage on the front stretches. He sits idle underneath the start-finish line. Let's see if we can't grab a look here, and this was a hard hit.
This was a very hard hit here. Why don't we ride on board with the 42?
Almost makes it through and then just gets clipped in the right rear quarter panel as the 98's coming down, and he's going to spin around multiple times on the front stretch. Unfortunate night, an unfortunate end to Mark's night out here tonight as he has terminal damage and is going to be retiring from tonight's race.
All right, let's take a look here from a little bit further up in the field if we can grab the right driver here. The 98 gets a bump from the 0-3, and that bump, I mean, it's kind of a mix of things, Tom. I think it's just Atlanta in general, but that was a big bump in the middle of the corner. The 98's already got a little damage, so he's probably not handling great. It's just unfortunate that he clips the 2 right here because that's really when some others get involved. Beyond that, the field had done a pretty good job of avoiding it.
Yes, see Josh Stovall making his way through up on the outside lane. He's going to slide his way through as he barely gets by the spinning 42.
I tell you what, we need an onboard of that one. We certainly need an onboard from Stovall here. Let's take a look at this. Wow.
Don't think he made any contact there.
I didn't hear any contact. That is impressive. Impressive stuff from Stovall in the 1. Props to you for save of the night so far. Still yet to pit. Sorry to cut you off there, Tom. I was just going to bring out that the top 2, Jared Talmadge, Brandon Gass, they still have not pit.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. So now the top 2, we keep dwindling the numbers down a little bit more and more as this race goes along, as we're going to see probably 8 laps to go. On the restart here, the top 2, the front row, the only 2 drivers yet to pit for service. 3rd place on back have been down pit road, and the 2 drivers that elected not to come down pit road yet, they're both going to take the inside line.
That they are, and to answer our race leader's question, there is a lap sled counter, 23 and counting for driver 27 at the moment. First car on the outside this time is going to be the pole sitter Cody Reed, and I tell you what, Tom, this is very reminiscent of what we saw last week, where Cody Reed kind of got the pole, led early, kind of fell back, and then right as crunch time happened, here comes the 25 out of nowhere, ready to contend.
Well, we'll see if he can do the same thing out here this evening. As remember, there's 2 bonus points on the line, but this finish result does determine the inside lineup for next week's first points paying race event. But we do know that Cody Reed going to be starting on the front row next week, so all he's going for out here tonight are 2 additional bonus points, last week's winner at the Clash.
Lights are out on that pace car, getting ready to pull off this time by. We are going to restart at the beginning of a lap 38 out of 45. We've got less than 10 laps to go here in duel number 1, the front row. Jarrett Talmadge, Cody Reed. Row 2, Brandon Gass, Clint Cox, and more on back. We'll see what all these drivers can do. A reminder that the 27 and the 29 have not changed tires a single time.
Pace car is going to get down and away for the 3rd time out here this evening, as we're going to see the green flag come out once again as drivers make their way into the restart zone. Jarrett Talmadge up through the gearboxes. This restart a lot tighter than the previous ones we've seen.
That it is, and a great launch for the first 2 on the inside line. They're both going to clear. Move Cody Reed down to the inside lines. Going to abandon the 0-3 and the 24 in favor of the line that's moving, and the 0-3 of Clint Cox is going to be the odd man left out. But not for long, the 25 gets the momentum. He's going to take it into turn 3, leading the outside.
Here comes the 25 up on the outside, using the momentum and the power of the tires at EchoPark Speedway, with help from Clint Cox directly behind him. Here, 2 cars up on the outside, with the 3rd coming in Ryan Beard.
So far, it's still the first 2 cleared on the inside, maybe 3, not quite on corner entry right there. The 27 and the 29 have it figured out at the moment. Justin Campbell in the 2 car, though, not a name who we've seen contending so far tonight. He's going to have an opportunity here. He had an opportunity to jump up in front of that outside line. He likes to stay with the inside.
Yeah, if I'm the 2 of Justin, if I'm able to clear the 25, I am jumping up at the first option that I get, and we'll see if he does that here. But Cody Reed still hanging strong. They're working about the 3rd row on the inside line, trying to close the gap to row number 2 and row number 1 to contend for the lead.
Down the back straightaway we go. The 2 car is going to have another opportunity, but not for long. The 0-3, Clint Cox with a huge push to the back of the 25 into turn 3 and beyond. Can the high side carry this momentum now? I think they're really going to have to get down there and start pinching those leaders on the inside there, Tom. Don't let them have that arc with those older tires. Make them get tight. Make them have to check up out of the gas, and that's going to be your opportunity.
They're going to be about even here as they come across the start-finish line down into turn number 1. Cody Reed and Clint Cox. Issues for the 29 of Brandon Gass. He gets out of line. We stay green flag racing here with 4 laps to go. That allows the outside line to carry the momentum. New race leader Cody Reed with Clint Cox directly behind him.
That is exactly what the outside lane needed. That's going to give them the opportunity to pull even with Jarrett Talmadge on the inside, who's now got Campbell in the 2 car pushing on that rear bumper. These lines are down to about 4 to 5 cars apiece, depending on where the 1 car goes at the back of the pack. But still, that inside line prevails. Justin Campbell in the 2 nearly gets both drivers clear. Here comes the outside into turn 3.
Reed trying to do the same thing that he did 1 week ago here tonight at EchoPark, and that's take the race win. He's got the help from Cox on the outside, got Ryan Bird 3rd on the outside line, and Chris Stamper in 4th on the outside line, and they're going to come across even with the race leaders on the inside.
Jarrett Talmadge gets out of control on entry, saves it, and somehow the field keeps it going down the back straight. Anyway, it's going to be a good opportunity for the outside line to pull alongside Cody Reed, doing everything he can on the 25 through turns 3 and 4 for the penultimate time, this time by white flag in the air.
This time is the last time here in duel number 1 with Cody Reed pushing on the outside. Jarrett Talmadge trying to protect the race lead on the inside. Do we see any moves down to the inside? Do we see somebody jump out to a 3 wide situation here as they're going to come out turn number 2? Jarrett Talmadge gets loose on the exit. Issues 25 involved. Justin Campbell, first car clear.
Justin Campbell, the first car clear. Here comes the 17 of Chris Stitz. He's going to have an opportunity to go high, to go low, to do something with the race. These leader coming to the line. We ride on board down to the inside. They make contact and across the line. I do believe it's the 17 of Chris Stitz by the narrowest of margins over Arie Fonseca. And let's take another look.
Chris Stitz in a good position right here, coming through turns 3 and 4. Nobody really behind him. He jumps up to the outside, and then going to try a little bit of a crossover on the front stretch. Looks high, and the two of Justin Campbell respawns back to it. So Chris down to the inside, and the two Justin contact between those two as they come across the line in a photo finish. As well, that's duel number 1, Arie.
That it is, and apologies for the replay being cut off right there as the session has already advanced to the next one. But let's take a look at our results here for duel number 1. Chris Stitz in the 17 with that duel win is going to line up in 3rd place in next week's race. Every position here represents the next in the odd number order for next week's grid. We've got Chris Stitz ahead of Arie Fonseca in 2nd, Justin Campbell in 3rd, Josh Stovall in 4th, rounding out the top 5, Chris Stamper, followed by Ryan Bird, Clint Cox, Cody Reed, Isaac Shelley, and Brandon Gass to round out the top 10.
Jared Talmadge, what could have been for the 27, comes home 11th. Noah Steele in 12th. Nolan Hicks going to come across the start-finish line in 13th. Mark Libertone has issues with a handful of laps to go, going to come home 14th. The top 15 is rounded out by Dakota Moniz, Ben Kinney, and Aaron Kralik, the field of 17 for duel number 1.
Alrighty, there we have it. And I tell you what, while we're waiting a handful of minutes here for duel 2 to be set up and ready to go, let's see if we can't pull up our duel 1 winner, and that is driver of the 17, Chris Stitz, in what was an absolutely phenomenal finish coming to the line there. The chaos was going, and it looked like you pulled off the perfect move, and then for half a second it looked like it wasn't going to work out after the contact with the 2-car. But walk us through it. Walk us through how you got that done.
Yeah, once that big wreck happened on the backstretch, I knew that all I had to do was get the right run and just kind of fake him. And once I saw him start to bite high a little bit, that's when I knew I had to just dive it low. And fortunately, he was spinning off my nose and not spinning me. So that was one hell of a finish.
It certainly was, and I tell you what, Chris, between last week's race and then here in your duel, that 17 car has been one of the most impressive out here in the pack, in the draft. Do you usually consider yourself kind of a plate racer, kind of a drafter, and are you looking forward to next week's race as a good opportunity for you?
Quite honestly, I think Atlanta has been the worst super speedway for me. I can't recall really ever running too well at these tracks, so I think it's just a combination of this Xfinity car and it drives kind of on a razor edge here, and it's really loose, which kind of fits my driving style really well. I really like a loose car, so this has been a lot of fun to drive.
It looks like a lot of fun out there. These cars are driving on the knife's edge. Well, congratulations on winning duel number 1, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, there's our duel 1 winner, and with that, Tom, we are within just a couple minutes of duel number 2 getting underway as these drivers line themselves up on pit road. And if that first duel, that first 45 laps was any indication, I think we're in for a good one.
Duel number 2 going to be led to the green flag by Ryan Kelly and Thomas Green on the front row. And you got to start to wonder here, Arie, what were these drivers watching over the past 45 laps as they were able to kind of take mental notes of that first duel, and we'll see how this second one plays out.
That we will. Hearing from Jared Talmadge, who was involved in the chaos there, led most of duel 1. Right rear push on corner exit, getting that car a little tight and out of control. And that's certainly something that comes up a lot of times here at Atlanta specifically. It kind of introduced such an interesting challenge when they reconfigured this track, Tom, where, normally super speedway racing and drafting, you never really thought about the tires, hardly ever. And all of a sudden you have this kind of unique challenge, this unique opportunity in a racetrack that's going to eat away at your tires and still be full throttle and kind of using the draft.
You certainly do, and it's a track really kind of unlike any others that these drivers will see throughout the course of their season out here this season. They're going to be seeing some different tracks on their schedule. We're going to be finishing out our trifecta of EchoPark Atlanta next week for 150 laps. And then we're going to take a trip out west to Kansas, Indianapolis, and then we see our first kind of wild card track of the season. We're heading to the road course of Red Bull Ring.
Looking forward to that one. I personally love racing on that track, though I've never seen stock cars on that track, and I do think it would make for a pretty good race. So that should be a good one, should be a fun time. And it looks like we're in the last couple of seconds here for the field to be gridded up and ready to go for duel number 2. If I have my timings correct, we will see here. And if I'm not mistaken here, Tom, do we have a couple of drivers who missed the grid?
That's what it's looking like. I do not see Jesse Thornock or Sam Dyer on pit road. Actually, looks like Sam is electing to start from pit road. So while the field rolls out onto the racing surface for the first time here, Sam Dyer going to elect to start from pit road.
There we have it. Pace car just now getting ready to pull us off right here. See if we can get caught up live with our current state on track. I think we were thrown for a loop having been mid-replay when the session switched over. Not entirely sure. We go there and then go back. Maybe we've got it sorted. That might do it. Are we stuck in a in a perpetual like couple seconds back, I think, at the moment, Tom?
That's what it appears as the timing tower not available at the moment, but we're going to call the replay as we see it while we work to get that squared away here. But Arie's and pace car down and away. Field's going to come to the start-finish line here for the first time. Ryan Kelly and Thomas Green up on the outside. On the front row, they're going to go ahead underneath Barney the Flagman for the first time here for duel number 2 of 45 laps.
That we are is driver 30 and driver 3 head down into turn number 1, and duel 2 is underway. Everyone following Ryan Kelly, trying to lead that inside line, trying to take notes from what everyone saw in duel 1. Quick reminder that we are trying to actively sort out timing tower and scoring technical difficulties at the moment. The race that we're seeing on track at the moment is delayed by a couple of seconds. And while we determine that, we get to watch all of these drivers going pretty aggressively for some track position early on. A couple of aggressive moves. The 6 car is actually going to dive down off of the racing surface into the back of the pack. Not liking what he's seeing is Justin Smith, and that allows that outside line to really gain a lot of steam. The 3 car of Thomas Green is going to clear and maybe just bring the 13 along with. Continues to lead right here as that inside line cannot quite get caught up. The 30 of Ryan Kelly looking for an opportunity. And we will see here.
Yeah, Thomas Green able to slide down in front of the 30 of Ryan Kelly as they run right now. Top 2 on the inside line. They're going to have the advantage as they come across here to begin lap number 4 here at the start-finish line. But got Joshua Kanata, got Mike Miller, got Stephen Clapp, all drivers up inside the top 5 as they run here early in duel number 2. And And there we go. Sorry about the delays here early in duel number 2, but working lap number 5 here of the second of 2 duel races out here this evening. Cedric Hunter in the number 7 up on the outside. In that number 13 on the side, but 7 on the timing charts. Cedric Hunter looks to take the race lead. Already up 6 positions here early in duel number 2.
All right, technical difficulties sorted out just in time for Cedric Hunter to lead that lap across the line. That outside line getting formed back up, or I suppose I should say the inside line, who have been hindered just a little bit now, with Thomas Green leading the way, trying to pull Ryan Kelly along with them. But that bright green 16 car on the outside, Josh Kanata looking to get up into the action.
We saw Josh Kanata certainly in the action last week with multiple close incidents. In that number 16 was able to make his way through most of them, and looking to carry on for the duels out here this evening. See what Josh is able to do this in the second duel. I think he's got to be one of the favorites out here tonight.
Certainly has to be, and we'll see what he can manage right here, as we see a little bit of a mixed bag right here. There's noticeably a handful of drivers towards the back of this pack who are not getting themselves involved. They're just kind of keeping the field at arm's reach and being there in the conversation, being in the draft, but not really ready to mix it up with these guys, expecting things to go south.
One driver kind of off the pace, that is Eddie Donahue, back in 16th place, in danger of going a lap down if we remain green. But as we stay right now, Cedric Hunter still the race leader. He's going to slot up in front of the outside lane of the 16 of Josh Kanata and leave the inside open for the 3 of green.
And he fills that gap. Does driver number 3 look real racy in practice earlier on tonight, looking to go out there and secure a statement dual win here is Thomas Green in the 3 car. But man, that outside line, that seems to be where everyone wants it to be and seems to be what's working. We see the 13 cut down in front of the inside line again through the middle of the corner here, trying to kind of manage both lines, and we didn't really see anyone do that too much in the first duel.
And that when Cedric did that, it took the air off the nose, as we have possible issues towards the back of the field. Nick Renner has a moment, and he is going to lose multiple positions here. Carry on in that number 88 as they're able to make their way through across the start-finish line, but almost the moment back in the mid-pack there, but that's going to allow a little bit of separation here up in the top 5.
That it is. Great heads-up driving from the field here to avoid having that get any worse than it was, but that has completely destroyed the outside line, and now we've got a 2x2 battle up front, and the rest of the field needs to kind of get single-filed, get it figured out, and catch back up.
And you can see the separation right here, about 4 car lengths here from 4th place back to the 9 of Stephen Clapp, as everybody starts to come back together here. They're going to reconverge down here a lap later into turn number 1. The 7 of Cedric Hunter on the outside lane, still leading the race with Thomas Green to his inside.
That he is, and down into turn number 3, we're going to be about even as the rest of the field pulls right up to the back, and oh, close moment for the 16 of Kanata, gets that thing saved before contact with the 30, but there's contact further back, and that's going to be Sawyer down through the grass, collecting another driver or 2. We are still green.
Still green here, working lap number 12 of 45 out here, but a separation in the field, that's going to allow Cedric Hunter to carry the momentum as the inside line breaks up just a little bit. Joshua Kanata all over the back of that pink number 7 as he's going to try to carry the momentum now and try to take the race lead. If he does, we've seen him drop down in front of the 3 before. Does he do the same thing?
Could very well be the case, and we'll see. Definitely can't miss that bright pink Hello Kitty Toyota out on track. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can get a replay right here of what happened with Joshua Sawyer. We're going to have to try and find something that goes far enough back. It looks like the 99, Michael Miller, kind of gets into the one, and innocent bystander in the form of the 88 of Nick Renner right there, who's going to get a little contact, but I think that could have gone a lot worse for Nick right here. He kind of can straighten it out and get it going, but real unfortunate here for Joshua Sawyer.
Yeah, that is the definition of wrong place, wrong time for Nick, and kind of takes him out of the draft as it runs right now. He's about 5 seconds back off of the race leaders. But back up front, Thomas Green, Cedric Hunter, those names have not changed. Ryan Kelly runs 3rd, Josh Kanata up on the outside in 4th.
as it sits, we've got a pack of about 10 drivers up in the front, and then you get to some of the drivers who are a little further back, a little more broken up, kind of riding, taking it easy, or maybe involved in that incident just a little bit ago. So with a pack of 10 drivers, well, what kind of level of aggression do you think we can expect to see here out of these guys, Tom? Do you think, you know, with such a little pack, they kind of see this as an opportunity to really go and get that track position without too much issue?
Well, there's the answer for yourself, is there's issues on the backstretch with the race leaders. A little bit of contact between, I want to say it was Thomas Green and Cedric Hunter, as they make contact on the exit of turn 2. Cedric Hunter's going to lose multiple spots and slide back to the 4th place running position here, but in danger of losing a few more.
This field has gotten their stuff together, broken apart, and gotten their stuff together so many times so far, Tom, and we're only 15 laps in. I've never seen a pack so so bipolar.
Yeah, certainly so. And, you know, they separate, they come back together, and then they separate again, as we see Cedric gets a little loose down there in 3 and 4. If I'm Josh in the 16, I did not like the looks of that. Out my windshield, and we're going to open up the outside lane for Hunter up on the outside once again, and another lap we're going to be just like we were 2 laps ago.
That we will be, and I'm surprised that the 30 of Ryan Kelly hasn't made the move to the outside yet. Man, if I'm the second driver on the inside, I really don't like staying there. I would much rather go and lead that outside line, but more power to the 30, who's going to bank on riding with driver number 3 here, as we see Cedric Hunter take an interesting line on corner exit there, really trying to kind of arc down the banking and get some momentum going.
See the 33 of Malik Kuntz gets sideways on the entry into turn 1. A little bit of a push down there on the inside lane. We've seen this happen multiple times down in duel number 1 and also now in duel number 2, probably more pronounced in duel number 2 with the contacts that we've seen, but the 33 washing up in the middle of the corners here, and that's going to have to be something that drivers are aware of as they make their way around him, but currently runs 6th for Malik.
Across the line that time, give it to Cedric Hunter in that Toyota Supra on the outside line. Been doing a great job so far in duel number 2. But I tell you what, Thomas Green, on the inside in that 3 car, he's had a pretty easy go of it. He's just been kind of riding his line, letting the race come to him. He's getting the pushes. He's letting the outside line do whatever they want to do. But to no real issue, that 3 car is just kind of having a real comfortable go of it.
This is something that we didn't have to talk about a whole lot in duel number 1, Arie, but with the separations that we've seen in duel number 2, couple of cars in danger of going a lap down. Now, if the leaders catch these cars that need to go a lap down, it gets very hairy very quickly, as this track's not very wide, but they're going to be coming up on Josh Sawyer, Eddie Donahue, and possibly Nick Renner as well here in the coming laps. So going to be interesting to see how these drivers make their way through lap traffic. That's not something that we saw in the first one.
Absolutely will be, as we see the leaders starting to get a little more dicey. We saw the 3 of Green jump up to the outside line for a moment there and block that momentum when they got hooked up real well. As a result, this has actually swung back around to really break up the inside line, and the outside line can't really take advantage when they're getting broken up as much as they are. So a lot of different games, a lot of interesting stuff going on from these drivers.
Absolutely, as we're on board here with Thomas Walter running back in 8th place, one of the bigger movers of tonight's event, and you hear him playing with the throttle and electing not to jump up to the outside lane here. I think he's seen enough in the opening 20 laps or so here in rule number 2 that he says, I'm just going to ride back here and I'll take the positions when they come available. But quiet run so far for the 57.
Down into turns 3 and 4, the 2 race leaders are clear. Ryan Kelly in the 30, following Thomas Green in the 3. The outside line trying to make a run back up towards the front. They've done it multiple times before. Don't see why they couldn't again, but another driver who's trying to get up into the conversation, Malik Kuntz in that black 33, doing everything he can to try and push Ryan Kelly out there. If he can get his nose clear, maybe he'll fancy jumping up.
See 3 cars pushing really strong on the inside line down the backstretch here, and it's going to be joined by 3 cars up on the outside, led by Cedric Hunter, Joshua Kanata, and the 99 of Mike Miller. A little bit of separation directly behind them. The top 5 is rented out by Malik Kuntz as they come across the start-finish line with Stephen Clapp on the inside.
We're going to go 3 wide as Green gets stuck in the middle. Ryan Kelly down to the inside in that 30 car, going to get a push from Kuntz. And on the outside, it's the same deal with Cedric Hunter getting pushed by Josh Kanata. Will this 3 wide situation go well? Because, oh boy, this is getting sketchy.
We remain 3 wide on the exit of turn number 4. Josh Kanata, Thomas Green, Malik Kuntz still 3 wide at the start-finish line, doing a fantastic job with these drivers, and Thomas Green holding his own without any help directly behind him, and he's going to make another bid for the race lead.
That he is, as the 30 does not have any help. He's actually going to jump in front of the 13/7 of Cedric Hunter, does Thomas Green. That solves itself, and that was mighty impressive, Tom, to be the single car on the middle to get back up there and control the race.
It absolutely was. I thought Thomas was going to be going towards the back of the field very quickly when he got stuck in the middle 3 wide, but was able to use a little bit of side draft on the 13 and able to carry the momentum and run a solid line to take the race lead once again.
I tell you what, something interesting has come up of this. It's that the 3 and the 30 are now separated, as are the 13 and the 16. A couple of pairs that have been working together so far in this event, now being split up, and we're going to see what these drivers can do with a little bit of a mix-up right here. We've got the 99 of Mike Miller making his way into the conversation on the outside, that white and red Chevy Camaro, who's now going to be pushing Josh Kanata in that Grinch machine. All the while, the 3 of Thomas Green continues to control this race. He certainly looked like the driver most in control thus far.
For the first time tonight, Josh Kanata sees an opportunity to lead laps out here in the second duel, as he is the first car, as Thomas Green gets a big wiggle in turns 3 and 4, going to slide up in front of the 16. For a moment there, Josh Kanata was the outside lead car, and he's going to remain the lead car on the outside, as Green and the 3 going to drop back down and slot back in front of the 13 of Cedric Hunter.
I tell you what, Tom, these race cars look so ill handling. Every time we go through the corner, there's one, if not more, drivers who are having to catch a little bit of a spin, who are getting real loose and real uncomfortable on corner entry or in the draft. And this is so unlike what we saw in the first duel.
I tell you what here, Arie, something that's in the distance that's going to become an issue here in maybe 2 or 3 laps. Got some lap traffic directly in front, and that 3 is sideways every single corner. As the 13 of Cedric Hunter gets sideways on the exit of turn number 2, we stay green, but off the track, back on the track. He's going to possibly stay in the draft.
Wow.
Lose multiple positions back down to 12th.
We've got a 3-car breakaway at the moment. As those lap cars have an issue, coming off of turn 4, that splits those guys up. It is like there's oil on track right now, Tom, with the amount of issues we're seeing.
It certainly is, and we see a lot of drivers bouncing around every single corner. I think the 3 is probably the worst offender of that. Just unstable in the corners for Thomas Green. Every time he goes down there, we see him have to catch the car there a little bit. As now maybe a little bit of breathing room here for the top 3, as we've opened up Thomas Green, Josh Kanata, Mike Miller. That's the top 3 as they run right now, and then a little bit of separation back to 4th place, Ryan Kelly, but we're 3 wide behind it.
And Josh Kanata actually going to make a move for the race lead down to the inside into turn number 1. Where does Mike Miller go in the 99? He's going to have Ryan Kelly pushing him here before too long, as we see a couple cars in the background getting into the wall right here. The 30 car looking for which line he's going to prefer, as Green holds on to the lead.
This time by, we're going to see 14 laps to go, and Thomas Green continues to lead the way out here tonight as he comes across the start-finish line. Mike Miller directly behind him. Josh Kanata, the sole car on the inside, as Ryan Kelly and Malik Kuntz, they're all going to take the outside line. But we got the 05 of Scott Richter not too far behind, and a possible inside line starting to form.
Here we go now. Ryan Kelly jumps down to the inside line to push Kanata. That's going to have Green jump down as well. And all of a sudden, just like that, the outside line becomes the inside line. But man, these drivers are still wiggly on the corner entry right there and in the middle. And man, I don't think the inside line is much of an option anymore with these handling issues.
Well, they're going to try. Mike Miller's going to drop down on the inside in front of the 3 and take the effective race lead, and he's going to slide up, manage to slide up in front of Thomas Green, but he gets a push on the exit of the corner, almost contact, almost an issue on the exit too as they work their way down the backstretch here. Next time by, we're going to see a dozen laps to go. Issues for Kanata. He's going to be sideways in 3 and 4.
Multiple drivers getting sideways through 3 and 4 that time. Like I said, oil on the racetrack. We stay green as Kanata drops down to P10 on track in this extremely spread out field at the moment. The battle for the race lead continues between Green, Miller, and Kelly. And wow, I am in such disbelief of what we're seeing, Tom. Everybody is single filed out, spread out, running the high side because these cars are just so is loose.
Well, I was taking a look to see if we could find the track temperature. Track temperature 91 degrees for these drivers. So a hot track, and it's a little bit later in the morning. We're using a morning sim time. So as the sun begins to rise up a little bit, that's making the track a little bit more unstable. But Thomas Green, Ryan Kelly, the top 2 drivers as they run right now. Third place is the first battle that we see out on track, and that is between Scott Richter and Malik Kuntz and the 05 of Scott Richter.
I tell you what, if these drivers have an opportunity to come down 4 tires, I think they are all going to take it at this rate as we start to get a pack reformed at the front of the field. Thomas Green still in control, Ryan Kelly up here, and now the 05 of Scott Richter going to insert his name into the conversation here, making his way up with the race leaders, seemingly without much issue. Here is the 05, same with Samuel Garcia in the 50.
First time we said Sam's name all night, and he is up a bunch of spots from his starting position. Second car on the inside line, not the position that you really want to be in, but he is trying to make his way forward. And we've seen drivers be able to make a pass down on the inside and then do kind of a slide job. Not really something that you would really, associate with a super speedway race here, but we've seen it multiple times. They're able to make the pass on the inside, slide up to the outside, but we'll see if the inside line's able to do that once again. But Thomas Green's continuing to control the race.
That he is, and Ryan Kelly's looking for an opportunity maybe on the outside. He's not going to get it, and so comes the push that the 3 holds on to across the line that time. It's going to be 8 laps to go as we head into turn 1, and the 3 car continues to try and control both lanes.
The race lead under fire from Scott Richter right now on the inside line, and he's got Cedric Hunter, who was leading the race earlier out here in duel number 2, trying to push the 05 through to the race lead. But Thomas Green doing an incredible job working both lanes here as we see just 7 laps to go this time by at EchoPark Speedway, and all these cars, they're handling terrible.
They certainly are. Down into turn 1 we go right here, the 3 on the inside. The outside line's only got 2 cars at this point unless we can get somebody jumping up there, but it's looking pretty good. I tell you what, Scott Richter in the 05 has a car that seems to be handling a lot better as we go 3 wide. Cedric Hunter to the inside, and now the battle for P2 is on. That 3 wide doesn't last too long with the handling issues for Cedric on the inside, but these drivers are ramping it up.
They certainly are. Cedric took a look down to the inside in turn number 3. Did not work out. Scott Rickard still runs in second, but Ryan Kelly trying to take that spot back away. But up front, it's been all the 3 here in tonight's races. They're now side by side on the exit of turn number 2. Help on the outside from Ryan Kelly to Thomas Green with the inside with a push from the 13 of Cedric.
Oh, the one time the 05 gets out of control and he saves it to the inside. That could have been a race ender for multiple drivers. Fantastic save, just a little bit of contact with our race leader in the 3 car. And once again, Tom, this is going to break up the entire pack as we have these stragglers. This is very, very reminiscent of kind of early 2000s super speedway racing.
And you see all these cars moving around a whole bunch. Ryan Kelly going to take a look down to the inside. No help behind either lane right now. Is he able to make the slide job? He's almost able to, as he's going to run side by side on the exit turn number 4. Where does Mike Miller in the 99 go? He's going to go up to the outside lane. Now, where does the 13 of Cedric go? And it looks like he's also going to take the outside lane. So close, but no cigar for Ryan Kelly in the 30.
That's right, and one thing we've got to remember is that we know the 13 car is unafraid of making it 3 wide if he needs to, and we'll see what other drivers that we might see that same energy out of. But at the moment, it's the 3 car of Thomas Green still in control and doing a phenomenal job at holding on to that lead despite the insane circumstances.
And now Ryan Kelly's got the preferred line up on the outside line. He's going to make his way, or try to make his way, around the current race leader, Thomas Green. 3 laps to go out here at EchoPark Speedway, and we've got a change for the race lead for the first time in about 20 laps. Thomas Green under fire from the 30, but no help behind Ryan Kelly. You got to go back 2 car lanes before you find Mike Miller.
Now you do, and a big push on corner entry here from the 13 to the 3. The 13 gets sideways, the 9 gets sideways. They get it corralled, and Thomas Green is back in control across the line for 2 laps to go.
This is incredible racing out here. Popsicle sticks over the speedway. Thomas Green in his rearview mirror, he sees the 30 of Ryan Kelly, Mike Miller, about 2 car lanes back. Kind of reminiscent of what we saw in the duel number 1 here, Arie, with a little bit of a 2-car breakaway here for the race lead. What did these drivers learn from watching it? Ryan Kelly going to try to jump up to the outside as they're working their way around a lap car.
That they are, and third and fourth are side by side battling each other as we come to the white flag. This time by, getting around the lap car on the outside, the 30 gets a push to the 3, tries to unsettle him on corner entry.
Into turn number 1, Ryan Kelly not clear of the lap car just yet, and that of Nick Renner, but now going to be able to have a run down the backstretch here. Got some cars coming directly behind him, but I don't think they're going to be able to get there just yet. Ryan Kelly getting a push from the 99 of Mike Miller on the outside to the checkered flag.
Here we go then, off of turn number 4 and to the line. Can anyone get the 3? He gets clipped and across the line. Who gets it? It's Thomas Green, still by the narrowest of margins. It looked like it might have been Mike Miller, but no. And let's cue it up here and find out exactly what happened.
Coming through turns 3 and 4 on the exit of 4. The 13 Cedric Hunter going to make a little bit of contact with the left rear quarter panel of Thomas Green, and that is going to send them around. But Thomas Green is the winner of duel number 2 from everything that we can see, as I try to find him here. And
apologies once again for the replay getting cut off right there. Just something with the iRacing systems and how they run this format of racing, cutting off the session right there mid-replay. But both incredible finishes, and I think Tom is caught up with our Duel 2 winner.
I have caught up with the duel number 2 winner. That is Thomas Green in that number 3. I tell you what, Tom, you were running some incredible lines out there, protecting both the inside and the outside. Kind of bring us through those closing laps.
Yeah, it was really crazy with how the tires would heat up, and you'd have no grip going into the corner. If you had someone on your outside, you had no grip. If you had someone on your bumper, you had no grip. It was absolutely crazy, but that was a lot of fun for sure. I kind of figured out that, like, if you just didn't lift and you just kept driving through it, it was a huge advantage, and you could just kind of soar away and hope that you could have the help. But I gotta say, shout out to Ryan Kelly there for helping me out a lot. He definitely could have went around me multiple times, and he just pushed me, so I appreciate him for that.
You know, I tell you what, every time I try to drive through it, the results are a little bit different for me, but you did a phenomenal job. There was one point in the race where we thought there was a little bit of vulnerability, where you got put in a 3-wide position, and somehow you were able to manage to maintain the race lead and take the race lead back with no help. Were the cars just driving that bad on the inside line that you were able to use the middle there?
Yeah, I kind of realized, like, if you just kind of did a slider line and slid up, it wouldn't really try to fight too hard, and it would kind of stable out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, when you go into the corner, you just have no side bite at all on the right side of the car. It just wants to loop around. So it's definitely really sketchy. The track was really hot too, so I'm sure that didn't help. And the tire wear wasn't bad. It was just when the tires get that hot, it was just, you'd have no grip going into the corner. But Yeah, I was able to stay full throttle if I kind of ran like a middle lane. It was a lot easier down there, but I realized that if you could hold wide open on the bottom, you can kind of gap away from people and pull away. And that's kind of what was able to let me kind of control the lines a little better.
Yeah, well, next week we're going to be doing a similar format. We're also going to be racing in the morning next week for the first points paying race. And you're going to come out of here with 2 bonus points out here tonight. So starting 4th next week's race, you already know that. That's kind of put in the back pocket. How do you approach next week's race and start to think about your strategy?
Definitely going to have to prepare for it to be wrecking loose pretty much every lap. Once everyone's together, I feel like it'll kind of calm down a little bit. I hope at least, and people will kind of just manage their stuff. I think for a longer race like that and longer runs, you're definitely going to have to kind of back the pace down a little bit, manage your tires, and because if you're not worried about fuel really, then definitely manage that right rear. Try not to get it too hot, and that'll kind of be the key to success for next week.
All right, well, lessons learned out here tonight in duel number 2 from the duel number 2 winner, Thomas Green. Out here, Tom, hey, we're going to allow you to open up the floor. Anybody you want to say hello to, maybe watching you get a duel win out here tonight, and the floor is all yours.
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to all my teammates there. Shout out to Jarrett, shout out to Ike. I wasn't in their duel. I was kind of hoping we would be so we can get some practice together, but they ended up doing a good job in theirs, and they got wrecked in theirs, to be honest. But I just want to say shout out to you guys for the broadcast. It was really cool. It's the first time I got to watch one. I was watching it while I was racing, so that was really cool. Shout out to Trinity for putting all this together. I'm excited for the new season. And big shout out to my girlfriend Anna for all the love and support. She watches all the races, so thank you very much. I love you.
All right, congratulations once again, Tom, on a duel win out here tonight. Going to let you go debrief. And Arie, that was a lot of fun to watch. And now we know the starting lineup for next week's race.
We know the starting lineup, Tom, but I think we know a lot more than that as well to kind of bounce off of that. I mean, there was a couple of drivers who I thought really stood out tonight in terms of their performance out there. I think in Duel 1, the biggest standout had to have been Jarrett Talmadge with his performance and how he was able to lead so many laps and kind of control the race. And equally so, I think in Stage 2, it was Thomas Green, who you just talked to, who kind of went out there and really showed that even in the craziest of circumstances, he knew exactly where to put the race car at all times, and he brought it home.
Yeah, and another name that wasn't able to get the win out here tonight, but Ryan Kelly looked very strong in a pusher position for next week's race, and going to be starting up on the outside front row from the initial qualifying that we did out here tonight in the 5-minute 2-lap qualifying. So keep an eye on that number 30 next week for Ryan Kelly.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And with that, I tell you what, Tom, why don't we pull up our final results right here? Let's take a look at the end of stage, or duel number 2 right there. So used to stage racing, and let's see our final results as we, of course, know Thomas Green took home the win and will start P4 in 1 week's time. Remember that all of these results for the second duel represent the outside row starting positions for next week's race. 2nd, 4th, 6th, and on back. Thomas Green at first. Mike Miller comes home with that P2 across the line. Cedric Hunter in 3rd. Samuel Garcia in 4th. Ryan Kelly does bring home a P5 ahead of Scott Richter in 6th. Stephen Clapp in 7th. Joshua Kanata recovers to P8 ahead of Graham Walker in 9th. And rounding out the top 10, Justin Smith.
Sam Dyer is going to come home 11th in duel number 2, followed by Thomas Walker in the 57. Joshua Sawyer in the 19, going to come across the start-finish line in 13th. Unfortunate incidents for Nick Renner in that number 88. He's going to finish duel number 2 in 14th. Eddie Donahue going to come across 15th with Malik Kuntz and Jesse Thornock in 16th and 17th to make up our duel number 2 finishing order.
I'll tell you what, those were 2 extremely exciting duels. I'm glad we got to see those. Last week provided a phenomenal race, a great finish. Tonight was a couple of great races with some great finishes. All of that is pointing towards a great race next week here in EchoPark, the main event from Atlanta, Georgia for the season here in the Trinity Racing League. I'm looking forward to it, Tom. I think it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a good time. We're going to be here every single Monday night. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you click the like button, get subscribed, get notified every single time we go live here for the Trinity Racing League on a Monday night. And, well, Arie, what do you say? We'll hand out some points next week in the first points-paying race of their season.
I'll see you there.